The board will now come to order. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderwoman Tyus. Alderwoman Milbrook.
Present.
Alderman Bosley. Alderwoman Hubbard.
Present.
Alderwoman Garcia.
Present.
Alderman Shaw.
Here.
Alderwoman Rice.
Present.
Alderman Gunther.
Here.
Alderman Ballmer.
Present.
Alderwoman Martin.
Present.
Alderwoman Murphy.
Present.
Alderwoman Howard.
Present.
Alderwoman Green.
Present.
Alderman Oldenburg.
Present.
Alderman Roddy.
Present.
Alderman Todd.
Present.
Alderwoman Davis.
Present.
Alderwoman Spencer. Alderman Muhammad.
Here.
Alderman Boyd.
Present.
Alderman DeQuaro.
Present.
Present.
Alderman Narayan.
Oldenburg.
Present.
Alderman Roddy.
Present.
Alderman Todd.
Present.
Alderwoman Davis.
Present.
Alderwoman Spencer. Alderwoman Boyd.
Present.
Alderwoman Navarro.
Present.
Alderman President Reed.
Here.
Alderwoman Tyus. Alderman Bosley. Alderwoman Spencer. Alderman Cone.
Present.
Alderwoman Clark Hubbard.
Here.
24 present.
Quorum being present, before we begin, please join me in a moment of silent prayer for all of those who we've lost to the coronavirus and all the families who have loved ones that have been hospitalized and that have been consumed with this virus also. So please join me in a moment of silence before we begin prayer. Giving all honor to God, Almighty God, source of all authority, we humbly ask guidance in our deliberation and wisdom in our conclusions. And Lord, please watch over those who are working on the front lines to protect our families and friends from this virus. Also watch over them and their families so that they arrive home safe and they can continue doing the work to save our community. Amen. Dispense with line item 3, introduction of honored guests. Any introduction of honored guests? Any introduction of honored guests? Approval of the minutes.
Approval of minutes April 20th, 2020 and April 21st, 2020.
Alderman from the 22nd, you recognize on approval of the minutes.
Mr. President, members of the board, I move for approval of minutes dated April 20th and 21st of 2020.
Second.
Been moved by the Alderman from the 22nd, seconded by the Alderman from the 10th and Alderman from the 14th. Any discussion? Alderwoman Howard, you have your hands up for discussion. Any further discussion?
No further discussion, sorry.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 By a vote, you sustain the motion. Second, report of city officials.
Report of city officials can be found in A, B, and C of the agenda and has been placed in the alderman's mailboxes. Dear members of the board, I have the pleasure to submit the following individual for appointment to the Civilian Oversight Board. The appointment of Mr. Frank Caponis, who resides in the 14th Ward and whose term will expire on December 31st, 2021. I respectfully request your appointment. Sincerely, Lyda Cruzen, Mayor.
Alderwoman from the 14th, you recognize on the mayor's appointment to the Civilian Oversight Board.
Yes, I would like to recommend Mr. Frank Caponis as a member of the Civilian Oversight Board to be appointed to the Civilian Oversight Board.
It's been moved by the Alderwoman from the 14th. Entertain a second on that motion.
Second.
It's been seconded by the Alderman from the 22nd. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carried. Is that the extent? Madam Clerk, is that the extent of?
That is the extent of report of city officials.
We dispense with line items 7 through 10, first reading of board bills.
Board Bill 2, sponsored by Alderman Roddy, an ordinance recommended by the Planning Commission on April 1st, 2020 to change the zoning of property as indicated on district map and in city block 4969 from D, multiple family dwelling district, and F, neighborhood commercial district to D, multifamily dwelling district, and containing an emergency clause. Board Bill 3, sponsored by Alderman Roddy, an ordinance recommended by the Planning Commission on April 1st, 2020 to change the zoning of property as indicated on district map and in city block 4969 from D, multiple family dwelling district, and F, neighborhood commercial district to D, multifamily dwelling district, and containing an emergency clause. Board Bill 4, sponsored by Alderwoman Clark Hubbard, an ordinance recommended by the Planning Commission on April 1st, 2020 to change the zoning of property as indicated on district map and in city block 3874.18 from E, multiple family dwelling district to the H area commercial district at 5637 Pershing Avenue and containing an emergency clause. Board Bill 5, sponsored by Alderwoman Navarro, an ordinance recommended by the Planning Commission on April 1st to change the zoning of property as indicated on the district map and in city block 5051.01 from B, 2 family dwelling district to the H area commercial district and containing an emergency clause. Board Bill 6, sponsored by Alderwoman Howard, an ordinance prohibiting the issuance of any packaged liquor licenses for any currently non-licensed premises within the boundaries of the 14th Ward Liquor Control District as established herein for a period of 3 years from the effective date hereof and containing an emergency clause. Board Bill 7, sponsored by Alderman Bosley, an ordinance recommended by the Planning Commission on April 1st, 2020 to change the zoning of property as indicated on district map and in city blocks 968 and 969 from both CG multiple family dwelling district and local commercial and office district and F neighborhood commercial district to G local commercial and office district and containing an emergency clause. Board Bill 8, sponsored by Alderwoman Clark Hubbard, Alderman Muhammad, Alderwoman Ingracia, and Alderwoman Boyd, an ordinance calling and providing for the holding of an election in the city of St. Louis on November 3rd, 2020 for the purpose of submitting to the qualified electors of the city of St. Louis a proposal to levy and collect a property tax of 6 cents per each $100 of assessed valuation, in addition to the current authorized levy of 19 cents per each $100 of assessed valuation as provided for in section 210.860 revised statutes of Missouri for the purpose of providing additional funding to the Community Children's Service Fund, and in particular to fund early childhood services to children aged 5 years and younger. Board Bill 9, sponsored by Alderwoman Howard, an ordinance pertaining to the employees' retirement system of the city of St. Louis by repealing section 2 of ordinance 70154 and enacting in lieu thereof a new provision in order to comply with the federal setting every community up for retirement enhancement act 2019 and containing an emergency clause. Board Bill 10, sponsored by Alderwoman Howard, an ordinance repealing City of St. Louis Ordinance 70973 pertaining to the parking within the 5347 Nottingham Parking District and enacting a new ordinance revising the name of said parking district, adding to its location, establishing restrictions for parking within the district, and authorizing a placement of permit parking only signs, and containing a definitions clause, penalty clause, and an emergency clause. Board Bill 11, sponsored by Alderman Narayan, an ordinance prohibiting individuals from intentionally coughing, sneezing, or spitting on essential workers for the duration of the COVID-19 crisis and imposing criminal liability for those who do so. Board Bill 12, sponsored by Alderwoman Davis, an ordinance recommended and approved by the Airport Commission and the Board of Estimate and Apportionment, authorizing and directing the mayor and the comptroller on behalf of the City of St. Louis, the owner and operator of St. Louis Lambert International Airport, to accept a first supplemental agreement to Airport Aid Agreement for project number Air 196-113C1, offered by the Missouri Highways and Transportation Commission, and containing an emergency clause. That is the extent of first reading of board bills.
Reference to committee.
To the HUD Committee, Board Bill 2, 3, 4, 5, and 7. To Public Safety, Board Bill 6 and 11. To Public Employee, Board Bill 9. To the Streets Committee, Board Bill 10. To Transportation and Commerce, Board Bill 12. To Education and Youth Matters, Board Bill 8. That is the extent of reference to committee.
All right, we will dispense with, and you got Board Bill 11 and Public Safety.
We do.
All right, we will dispense with line items 13 through 19. Alderwoman from the 19th, you recognize on the motion for our courtesy resolutions calendar.
I move to adopt our courtesy resolution calendar for today's meeting.
It's
Put it behind your backyard.
It's been moved by the Alderman from the 19th.
Do not.
Motion.
Put it up at Osceola.
Entertain a second on that motion.
Yeah, well, yes, I'll make a second.
It's seconded by the Alderman from the 23rd. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, motion carries. First reading the resolutions.
Resolution 6, sponsored by Alderwoman Spencer, Alderwoman Navarro, and Alderwoman Boyd, supporting legislation to tax online sales without a revenue neutral clause.
Alderwoman from the 20th, you recognize on the first reading of resolution number 6.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board. Resolution 6 was the Missouri General Assembly to would allow municipalities to collect sales transactions on online sales. You know, through this COVID-19 pandemic, it has been a on our local businesses, and not taxing online sales not only creates an uneven playing field for our local vendors, but it also creates a hardship for our local taxing jurisdictions in the state of Missouri. So this resolution simply calls on our Missouri General Assemblies to pass legislation like many of our surrounding states have already done to enable the collection of taxes, local taxes on online sales. I'd also like to mention that several other of my colleagues have added as co-sponsors: Alderman Dan Gunther, Alderwoman Sarah Martin, Alderwoman Annie Rice, and Alderwoman Sarah Martin Wood.
All right, so that's 9, 11, and 8.
As well as Alderwoman, excuse me, Pam Boyd. I'm not sure if she was listed already.
27. 9, 11, 8, and 27. Madam Clerk, please make note of that.
So noted.
All right, Alderman from the 23rd.
I'll learn sign language. They can add me.
All right, and the Alderman from the 23rd. Alderwoman from the 14th. Would someone like to just make a motion to do this one in bank? The Alderwoman from the 13th also wanted her name added. The Alderman from the 23rd, please recognize the Alderman from the 23rd. Alderman from the
So
23rd.
I'll make the motion to do it in bank.
All right. It's been moved by the Alderman from the 23rd that we pass the resolution and
Agree to put their name on the bill.
entertain a second on that motion.
Second.
Seconded by the Alderman from the 27th. And the Alderman from the 13th. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's carried. Madam Clerk, please make note of that resolution.
Now this goes
Resolution
away,
number
right?
6
When I'm looking
in
at it, I
bank.
don't understand that.
Oh, no, that.
All
I
right.
have to keep making it come back.
Hold on one second. Recognize them. Alderman from the 20th, you recognize. Would you like to?
Thank you, Mr. President. I was muted. I couldn't figure out how to unmute myself there for a moment. And with that, I request unanimous consent.
Let me make sure everyone is unmuted. There's been a request for unanimous consent. No objections. Alderman from the 20th, you recognize to proceed.
Thank you, Mr. President. With that, I renew the motion.
No, you need to make a motion to adopt the resolution.
Okay, move to adopt resolution 6.
Been moved by the Alderwoman from the 20th that we adopt resolution 6. It's been seconded by the Alderwoman from the any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Madam Clerk, any further resolutions?
That's the extent of first reading the resolutions.
Second reading.
We have none.
Under miscellaneous unfinished business, we have to go back to one item on the agenda. The Civilian Oversight Board, for any appointments to the Civilian Oversight Board by ordinance, it has to go to committee. It states it clearly in the ordinance. So Alderman from the 14th who made the motion, I'm gonna recognize you to make a motion to reconsider having voted on the prevailing side so that we can pull back that appointment. And then your second, after that vote, your second motion will be to send it.
Having voted on the prevailing side, I would like the appointment of Frank Kopanis to the civilian.
To be reconsidered. Alderman from the 14th. Alderman from the 14th. Well, Alderman from the 20th.
Okay.
Alderman from the 14th, are you there? I think we're.
Mr. President speaking.
Oh, there you go. So having voted on the prevailing side, you move to reconsider the vote for the appointments to Civilian Oversight Board.
That's what I was saying. Okay.
We missed the end of that. We needed, just restate your motion.
I would like to restate my motion to reconsider the vote of the appointment of Frank Kopanis to the Civilian Oversight Board.
Haven't voted on prevailing side. It's been moved by the Alderman from the 14th. Entertain a second on that motion. Seconded by the Alderman from the 23rd. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Yes, I was like, it'll be easier to.
Alderwoman Tyus. Alderwoman Middlebrook.
Aye.
Alderman Bosley.
Aye.
Alderwoman Hubbard.
Aye.
Alderwoman Ingracia. Alderman Kotar.
Aye.
Alderwoman Wright.
Aye.
Alderman Gunther.
Aye.
Alderman Ballmer,
Aye.
Alderwoman Morton.
Aye.
Alderwoman Murphy,
Aye.
Alderwoman Howard,
Aye.
Alderwoman Green,
Aye.
Alderman Odenberg,
Aye.
Alderman Roddy,
Aye.
Alderman Todd,
Aye.
Alderwoman Davis, Alderwoman Spencer, Alderman Muhammad,
Aye.
Alderman Boyd,
Aye.
Alderman Vaccaro,
Aye.
Alderman Narayan,
Aye.
Alderman Cone,
Aye.
Alderwoman Clark Hubbard,
Aye.
Alderwoman Boyd,
Aye.
Alderwoman Navarro,
Aye.
President Reed,
Aye.
Alderwoman Tyus, Alderwoman Ingracia,
Aye.
Alderwoman Davis,
Aye.
Alderwoman Spencer, Alderwoman Spencer. 25 aye votes.
I vote you stay in the motion of the Alderwoman from the 14th. Alderwoman from the 14th, now would you like to make the motion to send the mayor's appointment to the Civilian Oversight Board to the Public Safety Committee?
Yes, Mr. President and esteemed colleagues, I would like to make a motion to send the nominee for the Civilian Oversight Board, Mr. Frank Kapanis, to the Public Safety Committee for consideration.
It's been moved by the Alderman from the 14th. Entertain a second on that motion.
Second.
Seconded by the Alderman from the 23rd. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Opposed? Motion carries. Madam Clerk, please make note of that. Sign the mayor's appointment of the Civilian Oversight Board to the Public Safety Committee.
So noted.
Announcements.
Friday, May 8th, 2020, full board meeting, 10 a.m. Via webinar. That is the extent of the announcements.
Any further announcements? Any further announcements? Any further announcements? No. Going once, going twice. I don't see any hands up. Also want to, I've had an opportunity to talk to some of the aldermen about the coronavirus committee, COVID-19 committee, but I haven't had a chance to get to everyone yet. I'm going to spend the balance of the day and also this weekend and Monday to hopefully catch up with everyone else on the committee, everyone else, every other member of the board, I guess, so that we can get those appointments and get it moving sometime, hopefully mid-week, end of week next week. With that, I just thank all of you for all the work that you continue to do. And you know, we're expected to get a fair amount of block grant funding coming to us. I've had a lot of discussions with the congressman, and he's been working really hard to get some direct funding to the city, you know, because, you know, remember on the first round of funding, because we are a city of under 500,000 people, we did not get any direct funding, right? But the congressman has built some relationships, and they're working to assure that cities like St. Louis across the country get access to funding. So be aware of that and stay tuned to that. And as soon as I get the information, I'll send it out to all of you. Alderman from the 22nd, you recognize on the motion to excuse.
Mr. President, I move to excuse the Alderwoman from the 1st due to necessary absence.
It's been moved by the Alderman from the 22nd. I entertain a second on that motion.
Second.
Seconded by the Alderman from the 23rd and Alderman from the 10th. Any discussion?
No.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Alderman from
Aye.
Alderman from the 25th, or was that the 9th? You're a little slow.
Aye.
Alderman from the 22nd, you recognize on the motion to adjourn.
Board of Aldermen adjourn until next Friday, May 8th, 10 a.m. by webinar.
It's been moved by the Alderman.
Second.
Second by the Alderman from the 10th and 23rd. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed.
Aye.
Bye-bye. We stay.
Oh, that's cute. Oh.
Beauty pie. Who's that?
Hold him just, hey, Alderman Millbrook, just a little higher so we can see. Oh, there you go. Bye-bye. Thanks for joining us. All right.
My mom camera.
All right. See you later. Thanks, everyone.